What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and have I got a treat for you guys today? I was lucky enough to hatch a Larvesta on the end of the first day, second day of this Instinct event. These things are stupidly rare in the 2, 5s and 10s during this event. Like, I've only hatched one, and I've hatched a lot of eggs this week. I've gone pretty hard on incubators, not gonna lie. But I decided, you know what? I haven't had anything to spend rare candy on in a long time, so I'm just going to dump all my rare candy into this thing, and I'm going to build it for Ultra League and give it a go for you guys to see just how it performs. Now, before we evolve this thing, let's take a quick look at the moves it can learn as a Larvesta, because this thing can be used in the Great League if you excel it enough. It will reach 1500 CP at around level 42, 43, 44, depending on the specific IVs of it. So we want to take a look at the moveset on this thing. First, using the Elite TMs, it's got Bug Bite and Ember as fast moves, and then for its charge moves it has access to Flame Wheel, Flame Charge and Bug Buzz. So not the best moveset overall, but not bad. There's some room there with a bit of wiggling. With a slightly better fast move or a slightly better set of charge moves, it could be pretty useful in the Great League overall. And then let's take a look at Volcarona itself. Now, as you can see, it was no joke powering this thing up. It cost about 500 rare candy I had to put in overall, because it's about 400 for the evolution. We only got 13 candy from hatching this thing out of a 5km egg, and then it's 75 candy to give it a second move, as well as then a few extra candies to power it up to the 2500 range to actually compete in the Ultra League. So hit the subscribe button for the sacrifices we make for the content for you guys to see how this thing actually works in the Ultra League. And let's take a look at the moveset. We got Bug Bite and Fire Spin as the fast moves, so not terrible, not brilliant. And then charge moves, we got Overheat, Hurricane, Bug Buzz and Solar Beam, so very hard hitting nukes, but nothing particularly spammy to suit this thing. Now, PvPoke does not have this thing rated highly at all for the Ultra League. I think it's ranked like 500 and something for the Ultra League, so not very strong at all. So this thing's got a lot of threats it's got to watch out for here in the Ultra League. It's definitely more suited to the Master League overall, but it does need a better moveset, I think, in general to even be viable there, because it's not going to be able to keep up with the impressive pseudo-legendaries and legendaries that are floating around at the Master League, even though this thing passes 4000 CP when it's maxed out. Now, speaking of CPs, this is a terrible IV for the Ultra League, let me just say. It's the only one I've got. It's 11, 15, 15 in its IVs, and that means it's going to power up to 2455 and then go to 2505. So we're going to have to just leave it at 2455, nothing else we can do there. So once again, subscribe for the sacrifices we make building this terrible IV spread on this super expensive Pokemon in terms of rare candy. And let's take a look at the Pokemon we're going to pair it up with and then jump into some matchups. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's very hard to build a team around Volcarona because it has so many losses against the top meta in the Ultra League. We've opted for Shadow Drapion because it helps cover against ghosts like Jellicent, it helps cover against Giratina, Cresselia, things like that. And also it's got it's a great pivot in general. It's a great safe swap to getting out of bad situations. And then we're also pairing up with Cresselia to help cover against things like Swampert and a lot of the other waters and rock types as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into the first matchup, and these battles are around the 2650 ELO rating, so pretty high ELO rating overall, you know, pretty strong meta teams. Scrafty is the first lead we get, and I was expecting this to be a pretty good matchup for us actually, because we're thinking, well, they're resisting the fighting moves. Look at those counters adding up though. That Foul Play is going to do monstrous damage if we let it through, because we're so squishy. Charizard swaps in, where's going to go for the Overheat, go for big damage, or get a shield, which I believe we do get the shield, that's great. Swap out to Shadow Drapion because we're running Aqua Tail rather than Sludge Bomb, which allows us to be quite spammy, and 2 Aqua Tails will take out a Charizard. We shield up a Blast Burn, so we're already down 2 shields very, very quickly in this game, and that's one drawback of having both a Shadow paired up with Volcarona, because both of them are a little bit squishy. Not the squishiest, but pretty squishy. Cresselia is the only real thing on this team with any real bulk to it. We're able to get 1 Aqua Tail off though on this Charizard, and then we're just going to hope that Cresselia, with an energy advantage and shields down, is going to be in a good position to sweep the rest of this game. So we're going to bring in Cresselia here, but we might bring in, I believe, yeah, we're going to bring Cresselia and go for an aggressive Psycho Cut Down. We're going to take a beating doing it, but we're just hoping that the excess energy that we get is going to be enough to put us in a good position. The opponent's going to swap out into Scrafty, I guess, to maybe tempt us to throw, but we're going to throw a Moonblast that's going to one-shot. Boom, Scrafty, get out of there. Now, what have they got in the back? Can we still bring this matchup back? I mean, we need Volcarona to really be able to take a move from something here in this game. We decide to try and catch a move on Volcarona to sack it. We end up sniping down the Charizard instead and denying the energy, which is super nice for us. Swampert's in the back. Volcarona's got nowhere to go in this game, but we're going to get a Bug Buzz off, does huge damage, and we should now be able to handle this Swampert because it's got energy, yeah. It's going to throw here though, and it's going to be able to get an Earthquake off. That's fine, but we'll survive an Earthquake, and then we can definitely get this Grass Knot off, take out the Swampert, and take the first win. Also, seeing how slowly Volcarona gets to its charge moves really made me nervous for going into more battles with this, because it really is a slow grind up to getting an Overheat or a Bug Buster throw at anything. Trevenant Lee's second matchup, that's fantastic for us. Well, it's not actually that good. I think Volcarona loses to Trevenant technically, even though he got a super effective fast move, and that's just because the Shadow Claws and Shadow Ball are just gonna... They're so powerful from Trevenant, and Volcarona really can't take those kind of hits, whereas you've not got any charge move pressure because you're getting to them so slowly. They're going to swap out into an Aurorus. We're going to bring in our Cresselia because we can keep it away from the Trevenant, and we've got Grass Knot, so we can two-shot this Aurorus and get it out of here. We're not shielding up because we're confident at that point that that wasn't a Meteor Beam. It wouldn't be enough to take us out. So we're going to just go through 2 Grass Knots at this thing, see what they want to do. They can shield up here and try and cling to switch advantage if they want, but we do have Drapion in the back, so this Trevenant is gonna, as far as they're aware, have nowhere positive to go, which is why we choose to preserve Cresselia and swap in Volcarona aggressively, and it's met with a Shadow Swampert, which you're just going to see how well Volcarona takes a Shadow Hydro Cannon. Spoilers, it's not good. Boom, Volcarona's gone, he's out of there. But now we've got Cresselia against this Swampert, which we're going to shield up to get 1 Grass Knot off because we want that last shield. There's a bit of a rough situation though because we're going to get farmed down with Mudshot, which is not a position that Drapion wants to be in. It's great for it dealing with Trevenant in general in the back, but when we need 2 charge moves still to take out this Swampert, and he's got enough of an energy advantage where he can go for double Earthquake and definitely take us out here. So the first one comes through there. We're getting more and more energy. The Swampert swaps out and they try to catch on Trevenant, which we are going to be able to knock out this Trevenant. The Crunch won't KO, but then we can farm it down. But that Swampert's got another Hydro Cannon stored at this point, which means it's 3 Mud Shots away from an Earthquake. So we can't just throw another charge move and take out the Trevenant right away. We need 2 charge moves to throw at this Swampert, which we're not going to win CMP in time anyway. We're going to be low enough that now a Hydro Cannon will take us out, and we're going to lose that game. GG. There's not really much we could have done in that situation, to be honest. We could maybe have stayed in with Volcarona against Aurorus, but then we would have had to throw Overheat, which would have debuffed us. And I think we would have been in a bad position overall, because a Meteor Beam, double super effective, is definitely going to one-shot us. I think pretty much any rock move from just about anything in the Ultra League is going to one-shot Volcarona. Right, Nidoqueen lead. Nidoqueen's pretty rare in the Ultra League at this point, not going to dance around the bush there. So we're just going to take 1 Poison Fang debuff because we can survive that comfortably, throw an Overheat, swap to Drapion, because everything on our team has pretty... Sorry, not Drapion, swap to Cresselia. Everything on our team has a pretty neutral matchup with Nidoqueen. Drapion with the Aqua Tails is pretty nice. Cresselia with the Psycho Cuts and the Grass Knot adds up quite eventually. So we're just going to clear the debuff, swap to Cresselia, see what we pull out of the back. And we pull a Jellicent out, which is a counter to Cresselia, but not the strongest counter, because the Grass Knot is slightly faster. You do outspeed them to that, and also it's super effective, so you're going to do big damage, and this is going to KO if they don't give us a shield. If they do a shield, we're probably going to farm down with Drapion afterwards, because we've got a 2 shield advantage at this point. We've still got 2 shields left. They've got none. That's perfect for a Pokemon like Volcarona that really can't take the charge moves, and it really suits something that's super spammy like Drapion as well, because those Shadow Crunchers hit so hard when they're neutral to anything. So they're going to swap out aggressively into Nidoqueen to prevent being farmed down, and we're just going to start spamming Aqua Tail here. We're going to take out this Nidoqueen pretty sharpish and then just see what they've got in the back. This could be an Earth Power, so it's worth a shield. It is the Earth Power. Good shield there. Go straight for the Aqua Tail, because at this point, honestly, I'd forgotten how much energy the Nidoqueen had. I didn't want to risk him getting to another Earth Power and forcing the last shield if I could avoid it. And let's see what this opponent chooses to do. We decide we're going to swap into Volcarona a bit eagerly, and it turns out Scrafty's in the back, and we're going to shield this Power-Up Punch because I wanted to throw an Overheat. I wanted to see how hard this will hit Scrafty for. We're very, very low. It was definitely a waste of a shield, but this is going to boom. It doesn't one-shot, but monstrous damage. Definitely puts the Scrafty into Poison Sting down range, so we can just throw a Crunch at the Jellicent and get it out of there, because this Scrafty has to go for Power-Up Punches, can't be throwing the Foul Players because they're resisted, and we're going to be able to farm them down before they can do too much damage with those powered up counters. Crunch comes through, we win CMP tie, take out the Jelly. GG's. All right, matchup number 4. What have we got on the lead against Volcarona here? It's a Bomber Snow, absolute perfect lead. Double super effective fast moves coming through. We resist the ice moves and the grass moves, so a very, very strong matchup for Volcarona. One of its strongest matchups overall in the Ultra League for sure. They're going to say swap Gliscor, which is a very, very strong Pokemon in the Ultra League currently if I have access to it. Night Slash and Earthquake is a deadly charge move combination, as well as it getting buffed with the recent wing attack buff that's happened in Go Battle League in general that we're all very aware of and very sick of seeing Noctowl for. So we're just going to go spam Aqua Tails from Drapion because we shielded up an Earthquake. That puts us in very, very good position in terms of being ahead on energy. It means we can force both shields out of this thing. And even if this is a Night Slash, which it turns out it is, and we do shield it up, we're going to outspeed them to the next Aqua Tail. They swap out to try and catch on the Abomasnow. We don't fall for it. We're just going to bring in Volcarona here, and this is probably the only matchup in the Open Ultra League where you can farm down entirely with Volcarona and charge moves be damned. It doesn't matter what they throw, we'll survive it. This is another Weather Ball coming through. Take it absolutely no problem. And we've got a ton of energy to throw at whatever comes in here. It's a Swampert. We're going to go for the Bug Buzz. This is going to do big, big damage, and then we should get to another one if they misjudge the energy here, which they do. They might not have thought we could get to 2 charge moves, might not have thought we had that much energy. Second Bug Buzz. Volcarona is a Swampert counter, confirmed, and now the damage is absolutely done in this game. We've got an Aqua Tail. We win charge move priority. They're not even going to see our Cresselia. Just Drapion and Volcarona taking out this full meta team. Absolutely beautiful, GG's. All right, matchup number 5. Are we going to get another positive lead for Volcarona? We get Deoxys defense form. Now, this is a pretty bad matchup just because Deoxys is bulky and it's got access to Rock Slide, and most Deoxys in the Ultra League run Rock Slide for dealing with Charizards and Talonflames, which is probably going to one-shot as it's double super effective. I was like, I don't want to risk taking that. It's probably going to hit like an absolute truck. Then they choose to swap out into Walrein, which they seemed pretty confident on swapping when we got to the Bug Buzz, and I don't know if people are super familiar with Volcarona's counts yet, but either way, it was a good attempt at catching because it was pretty spot on there. We swap out into Walrein, we can bring in Drapion. We do have to worry about the Earthquake, and we are going to shield up in case, which we do. We shield up the Earthquake. That's very, very nice for us. And now we can go for another crunch and either get the last shield out of them or get Switch Advantage, which we're going to get Switch Advantage. That's great for us. It means we can line up Cresselia against Deoxys instead, which is a very, very good matchup for Cresselia. But then our hopes are dashed. Stunfisk in the back. Again, Galarian Stunfisk isn't one you see as often currently, I don't think, in the Open Ultra League. It was very popular when people were first getting XL Pokemon, and then it dropped off because some of the other Pokemon just overshadow it a little bit. But this is really bad news for us. We've got no shields. This thing has Rock Slide to one-shot Volcarona, and the Earthquakes are really going to add up against Cresselia. They've got a shield advantage, so even though we've got Grass Knot, we're not going to be able to take them out fast enough. We tried to bait them to throw a Rock Slide by popping in with Volcarona for one fast move, swapping out. They don't fall for it. This does put them a lot closer to being Grass Knot downrange, that one extra Fire Spin, which is very, very nice for us. Means we can potentially take them out with this Grass Knot. We do get the last shield out of them. And Cresselia does very well against Deoxys in general, but it doesn't do well enough to be able to take them out with this low health, because that Deoxys is still very healthy in the back, and our Cresselia is down to about 1/3 HP, and like we've said, it's still got a bit of energy, and it can one-shot Volcarona because Rock Slide. Like I said, Volcarona's had pretty much nowhere to go in this game at all. It's really going to struggle, and we decide to just throw Volcarona in. We know the Deoxys is getting ahead on energy. Can it survive this Rock Slide? Absolutely not. Absolutely smashed to pieces, vaporized, smashed like a bug under a rock, and then Deoxys is going to get to another Rock Slide, take us out, and it's going to be a GG. Now, we did technically go positive in that set with a 3-2, and at 2650 ELO rating, that's not bad at all for any team to be performing. Like, was that because the team was carried by Drapion and Cresselia? I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. I won't comment either way, but you've seen how Volcarona plays. So let me know what you guys think about Volcarona so far. Have you managed to hatch your own Larvesta yet? Because like I said, these things are rare in the eggs. So congratulations if you had one, and good luck if you haven't yet. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch all you absolute legends next time.